This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
All right, let's get into it. Today we've got a story that starts in a totally ordinary place, a supermarket aisle. But what happens there reveals something huge about human kindness. It's an incredible reminder of how one tiny little act can set off this massive ripple effect.
It all just starts with a simple scene, a moment you've probably been in 100 times without even thinking about it. So picture it. It's late December, there's a bit of a chill in the air. The store isn't packed or anything, just people going about their business, focused on their own shopping lists, just moving through the aisles, a completely normal, everyday setting.
And in the middle of this ordinary scene, you notice one small detail. An older woman, just sitting there quietly. She has this calm, gentle look on her face, the kind that makes you feel like, hey, despite all the rushing around, the world's still a pretty good place.
Well, this woman has a name, and her story is the whole reason we're talking today. Her name is Connie Platero.
Now, to really get why this story is so special, you need to know a little bit about Connie. She's 86 years old, a member of the Navajo tribe, and she lives on a really limited income. I mean, she's someone who has to be careful with every single dollar. Just keep that in the back of your mind because it makes what she does next absolutely remarkable.
Okay, so this is where a totally normal day suddenly becomes, well, a test, a moral crossroads. A young man walks up to Connie. Now, he happens to be a social media personality named Jimmy Darts, but to her, he's just a stranger who looks like he needs some help.
His request was super simple, super direct. He looked worried and just told her he needed a little money to buy some medicine. It's a situation a lot of us have probably been in, right? And it almost always forces you to make a snap judgment.
So let's just pause on that for a second. What would most of us do? Be honest. Maybe you'd feel a little suspicious. Maybe you'd say, sorry, I don't carry cash. Or, maybe you'd just be so wrapped up in your own day that you wouldn't even really engage.
But Connie, she did none of that. There was zero hesitation, no suspicious look. She didn't grill him on his story or start weighing her own needs against his. Her response was just immediate and completely pure.
And this right here, this brings us to the absolute heart of the story. Because it wasn't just what she did, it was the spirit behind it all.
She reaches into her purse and pulls out $20. Now, for a lot of us, that's lunch, maybe a couple coffees. But for Connie, with her limited income, that was a serious sacrifice. And then she said this, "You need it more than I do." Just let that sink in for a minute. This wasn't just handing over some cash. This was a deep, profound act of empathy. A woman who had so little decided in a split second that a total stranger's need was greater than her own. Jimmy Darts was, he was completely floored. He realized he wasn't just seeing someone be charitable, he was seeing true selflessness in action. And right then and there, he decided that her kindness couldn't just stop with him. It had to be multiplied.
So here's the chain reaction that happened, like boom, boom, boom. It started with Connie's $20 gift. Jimmy, totally moved by this, immediately turns around and gives her $500. But he didn't stop there. He shared her story online with all his followers and launched a fundraiser just to honor her incredible heart.
The speed and the scale of what happened next is just mind-blowing. Within just a few days, that single $20 bill had multiplied into something huge. Thousands of people, all inspired by her story, donated over $78,000 by the end of the month.
And listen, this wasn't like lottery money for fancy stuff. This was a lifeline. These funds went directly to things she desperately needed, fixing up her home, getting her old car repaired, and helping support her grandkids' education. It was a wave of goodness that gave her real, tangible security. But here's the detail that tells you everything you need to know about Connie. After getting this life-changing amount of money, her character didn't change one bit. She said she was going to keep right on helping other people whenever she could. That generous spirit, that's just who she was, rich or poor.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? I mean, the numbers are amazing, for sure, but the lesson behind them is way more powerful.
It all boils down to this incredible contrast, right? The giver was a woman with almost nothing to her name, and yet her act was one of massive generosity. It just goes to show you that your capacity for kindness has absolutely nothing to do with the size of your bank account. And that really gets to the heart of what true generosity is. It's not about giving away what you don't need. It's about what you choose to give from your heart. It's an act of mercy, even when you're struggling yourself. And Connie, she's the living definition of that.
There's this quote from the source material that just wraps it all up perfectly. Kindness is never wasted. A merciful hand is always blessed. I mean, Connie's story is proof of that, isn't it? Her simple act of mercy came back to her 1,000 times over.
And so, we'll end with a question for you. We all face these little moments, right? These opportunities to connect with a stranger, to help someone in need. So when your moment comes, are you going to remember Connie Platero and choose to be that source of light? Or are you going to let it pass you by? The choice, as always, is ours to make.